Hello there. Welcome to Alchemize Yourself Tarot. I'm going to be exploring the theme of alchemy through collapse and creation with the cards. Many times when we are manifesting, we first go through spiritual and emotional collapse, a period of disillusionment and transformation through truth. But after the collapse or awakening, you can start rebuilding your life more intentionally. So we can explore this by breaking or peeling back breaking down or peeling back the layers of where you are at versus where you want to be or what you want to become. So yeah, we're going to be peeling back the layers, and I'm going to start with one deck and then go on to the next. So we're going to explore the alchemy of collapse. What is collapsing? What is being broken down in order for you to create and re-envision your life? So first you have to release certain things, break down certain things, break down old patterns. And many times this isn't really discussed too much. You hear a lot about manifestation, but you don't really hear about the collapse that occurs first. So what situation appears to be happening? What is the outer story? What's the outer layer of what you're experiencing? The surface level narrative, what the ego sees. Eight of Swords, self-imprisonment. So the ego feels trapped, stuck, like a victim, like there's no way out of a situation. Many times it's very hard to break out of a feeling of victimhood or feeling trapped in the situation that we're in. So the ego wants to tell you that you're stuck, there's nothing that you can do about it. That's the outer story at this time, is that you don't have power, that you have no control over the situation. And this can feel, like just this narrative of powerlessness. But what are you actually feeling that you're avoiding? Because you have to break down the ego telling you that there's nowhere to go in a situation or nothing that you can do about it. But the emotional layer underneath, what your ego is telling you, emotions you acknowledge or suppress, is that fulfillment, it's going to take a lot of work. So you know there's fulfillment up ahead. With focused dedication, you can have fulfillment and contentment. But you may be suppressing this, that it's out of reach in some way. It's going to take a lot of work, to go from a place of self-imprisonment to a focused dedication. This is going to help you get out of your head. So on an emotional level, you know that happiness can be had, but it's going to take you working really hard towards that. It's not just going to magically appear in your life. You may have feelings of powerlessness when it comes to your work, your circumstances, because coins can mean your material world, your resources. What do you have to work with to create this life that you want? So you're needing to reassess and refocus on what you have instead of what you don't have. The Eight of Swords is telling you that you don't have these resources. The Eight of Coins and the Sun says, look, you're going to get some clarity about what you do have. But you're going to have to refocus into your work. You're going to have to find a way to focus your energy instead of being up in your head. Because what is a behavioral pattern or a karmic loop that you've been stuck in. The karmic loop is Six of Swords, transition. But Six of Swords is about moving on, moving forward, making peace with something that's not working, needing to transition into a new phase, a new way of thinking. But I'm getting more of a shadow side of Six of Swords, where maybe you keep returning to something, and whatever you're returning to makes you feel stuck. So it loops back around. It doesn't necessarily bring you peace. It keeps you stuck. So there's this need to transition, to move forward from this mental headspace. But there's this hidden power of going back, always trying to reconcile, always trying to make peace with something, or maybe even trying to make something work that's really not working anymore. Because when we talk about cycles repeating, maybe you're feeling like you're always in a phase of transition instead of building anything solid. You're always having to move on, or something always happens and you're having to move, or your circumstances are always pulling you away from being focused. But where are you contributing to that collapse? What's the personal accountability here? What is the shadow of this? What is the shadow of this? Page of Coins, study. The shadow is Page of Coins. Always feeling like you're having to start over from square one. I think the shadow and the feeling of victimhood comes from you're always in transition, or you're always in movement, and you're always feeling like you need to start over and rebuild, right? So some of you have been through multiple situations where you had to start over, where you had to learn a new skill. Some of you are really worried about having to learn a new skill or talent or to develop something. You give up on it before it truly develops. You know, the Page of Coins isn't fully developed yet. It's just at the beginning phase. So it's like initiating something and then not finishing it, moving on, detaching from it, not following through with an idea or a plan. Feeling like you have to start over. But what is the core belief or past hurt that fuels this? Temperance and Six of Wands. The root wound is around victory, success, balance. Many of you are needing to develop patience when it comes to what you want. Sometimes if we don't have success right away, we give up, we move on, we drop it. And then we get stuck in our head like, oh, not following through with that. Because temperance is all about balance, moderation, patience, taking your time to develop something, not giving up too soon or too quickly, wanting success. You know, Six of Wands is getting a lot of attention, getting a lot of success all at once. And sometimes things take time. So you're realizing what's collapsing is this restlessness or feeling of being trapped, repeating or starting over constantly instead of taking the time to do the work to really follow through with something. It's like you give up before you even get there. But then you feel upset because you didn't get there. Well, sometimes giving up before you get there is a form of self-sabotage. And then you're constantly having to heal or feel like you're kind of having to do this rebalancing act because you put that surge of energy into something, and then when you don't follow through, or if it doesn't work out and you move on, you're back at square one. Some of you, the core belief came from competition and comparison to other people. Six of Wands can be the ego, like needing recognition or attention, feeling it comes after the Five of Wands, right? That tension, that, you know, comparison to other people, where you stand out. You may feel like you're always at the beginning of something instead of a master at it. And that's what happens when we don't fully follow through. Maybe you know, a core belief was you kind of gave up, even that's an inner wound, like the ego couldn't handle failure. Sometimes we set high standards for ourselves, and when we don't reach them, it's like the ego can collapse somewhat if it doesn't work out. There's this feeling of defeat. Because the 8 and the 6, there's a 5 of Swords. It's some of you are needing to overcome feeling defeated before you even get started. I mean, that's a very common pattern that gets repeated with a lot of people, is that, you know, giving up, feeling defeat, feeling like you can never break through to something. But you're being initiated. This collapse, this inner narrative is asking you to face something. It's asking you to face, contemplating disappointment, missed opportunities. Four of Cups, you're needing to, the spiritual lesson or challenge here is dealing with disappointment, dealing with things when they don't work out, and not going through, instead of going through an ego collapse or a state of victimhood, continuing to move forward, perfecting and refining your work, not giving up on it. Because Four of Cups can be about not being interested, losing interest, not having the patience, not feeling emotionally satisfied with what you are doing or creating. And sometimes we will lose interest. You'll lose some interest in what you're doing. Like you'll get into the middle of something and realize, oh, this may not be the path. And then you're kind of having to reassess. That can be so difficult, following through with an interest versus something that's really going to be your life path. Because you can dabble and have a lot of interest, but if you're losing interest in what you're really good at or what you're capable of, you just feel stuck. The core transformation, holding on, building, holding on. In this state, the Four of Coins would be establishing your foundation. So what's collapsing is giving up, and what's actually being transformed is holding on, being patient, doing the work, seeing something through. The collapse would be the part of not seeing something through or building the foundation for it. So this kind of has a little bit of that breakdown and creation, because instead of just breaking it all down or collapsing something, you're holding on, you're tuning deeper, you're going deeper into it. Instead of just, and we do have wish fulfillment. This is all about knowing what really makes you happy too. The Sun and the Nine of Cups, this is wish fulfillment, being happy. If something's making you happy, you're willing to see it through with that Nine of Wands. You're willing to put in that time and effort. You're willing to go the distance. So it's all about feeling excited about what you're doing, but also having the patience. It has to be something that you really want to do. whether you're stuck in something or constantly feeling like you're starting over. So I think that's going to be who this resonates with, is like feeling stuck in that loop of giving up before you've really done the work to see something through, and shifting your narrative in response to that. So very powerful, deep inner work that would have to happen, or needs to happen, to get to that point where you want to invest, where you want to build, where you don't just become dissatisfied with something. And that's about following your heart with the Nine of Cups. Following your heart, you know you're on the right path. Maybe in the past you didn't follow your heart. You were comparing yourself to others, basing success on what other people are doing, instead of what your true calling is. You know, many people do that. Like, they get into degree programs because it's practical. It seems like what would be victorious and successful in worldly terms, instead of what's really successful in your life and what you want to do. Not being guided by what other people tell you to do. We have perseverance. Yeah, persevering. You know, things take time. You know, remember, slow and steady wins the race. Awaken your inner bull to give you patience. Yes. Have the patience to do the work. And it takes doing something every day, cultivating your work every day, not giving up on it. I love that. And it's an explosive situation. This destruction will allow new growth to emerge and shape a new future. So something is changing. The destruction is this, being in your head. The narrative is what's getting destroyed. And that's what's going to help you to have new growth, right? There's going to be something you learn, something new that you're studying. You're going to go deeper and more focused in what you're doing. So the destruction that's breaking down is just your thinking, the way of thinking. That's where the true awakening takes place. So now we're going to shift into this alchemy of creation, building your life more intentionally. So you're breaking down the old narrative, many of you, and now you're going to have the space, the energetic space, to create whatever, you know, to build that new foundation for yourself. So what is your outer desire? What do you actually consciously want? You don't want to be a victim. You don't want to be giving up. You don't want to constantly be in a state of transition. So what do you actually desire? What is the goal or dream and what you're wanting to create? Queen of Cups. Well, you want to be intuitive. You want to be compassionate. Some of you are nurturers. You're caretakers. You want love. You want to be loved. You want to evolve emotionally. You want emotional depth in your life as the Queen of Cups. Some of you are focused on love. Others of you are just wanting to focus on doing what you love, but you're very sensitive and intuitive. You're wanting to hone in on those kinds of skills and talents. So what's the inner spark? What latent potential are you ignoring? What's the hidden gift or talent here? Because sometimes Queen of Cups energy has hidden talents. You know, they're always beneath the surface. It's being the loving, discerning, intuitive one. And sometimes that in, you know, the kind of culture, like even patriarchal type dynamics, this is not appreciated. But there are hidden gifts here in being intuitive, being compassionate. Many of you are healers, your inner spark. What are you ignoring about this? Whether or not it's useful or valued by others. 8 of Cups. Emotionally done, walking away. Knowing how to walk away and detach. So the hidden gift is having strong emotions and feelings for people, but also being able to walk away and detach. Knowing when you're done. Knowing when you've people pleased or been caretaking enough. Also, as healers, you have to be able to, at the end of the day, walk away and still be in your own energy. Some of you absorb a lot of emotional energy that you're needing to be able to detach from. Care about people, but know when to walk away. Know when something's not serving you. That's a major challenge for the Queen of Cups, because it's all water, it's all feeling, it's all fluid, it's very powerful. But it can also be all-consuming. You can drown in those emotions if you're not able to walk away. So the block, what is a block? King of Wands, someone's very charismatic. Could be that this is a love situation. You're very attracted to somebody. You could feel really emotionally attached to somebody else's fire. You get fire through this other person. So there could be a little bit of codependency. You have let other people lead. You've let them shine. The block is you may struggle with becoming your own leader by being the King of Wands, taking charge of your own life, walking away, being able to detach, and finding your own power, because the King of Wands is all fire. It's all power, very powerful. Becoming a leader, being a healer, but also being a leader and taking charge and not letting people rule over you or take your power away. Some of you are really quick to submit, and the new life, the new version of yourself is saying no. No is no. Gotta walk away sometimes. That can be a block. Like being able to tap into that fire, that masculine energy when it serves you. And we all need to be able to access the masculine and the feminine energy in order to be more balanced in what we're wanting to create. Some of you are going to be creating by tapping into the masculine and feminine and having that more aligned and balanced, not seeking it external or having other people give you answers or tell you what to do, learning to be your own boss, being more visionary, creative, using those emotional creative powers to serve and lead. So what energy could support you at this time? 8 of Swords, victim mentality. And see, this came out in the other reading. The guidance, you need to open that cage, not sit in a cage of self-imposed restrictions. You do have power to change this situation. Many of you have been giving your power away too much, or you've been relying on other people to take the lead. But sometimes you have to take the lead. You have to create movement for yourself. And the concrete step you have to take in order to do this is Knight of Swords. Be action-oriented. Not waste time. Not sit in a victim mentality or in a cage of your limitations. Sometimes when you are highly intuitive or emotional or an empath, you absorb a lot of energy, but it makes you feel weighed down. Some of you are going to need to emotionally cleanse in order to get more action oriented. That's why it's like if you sit in a receptive energy too much, you're not taking action towards your goals and your vision. Even your relationships, you know, if someone's not taking the lead or they're not appreciating what your input, your love, the emotional energy you're putting in, knowing when to walk away from connections like that, friendships like that. All of a sudden something shifts and you're like, no, I'm not going to wait around. I'm not going to stay in this cage letting somebody else have power over the situation. So how can you fully align with this creation, this new version of yourself? 6 of Cups, childhood innocence, past life. Some of you are going to be doing some past life healing, inner child wounds. You're going to be going back in time a little bit to figure out what got you into this restrictive mentality. But it's going to require you heal. It's also a return to innocence. Your point zero energy, your core self. Some of you are going to be walking away, releasing people, and like really leaping into doing deeper inner work of where a pattern started. Some of you are also going to be very tuned into past lives, very intuitive or psychic. That's for some of you. So that's going to be part of your work or your creation. You're going to change a narrative about your past because there was a past conditioning that told you to play small or to be overly emotionally attached to people and giving your power away. Submission. Healing that. You're going to find it. You're going to find the core root of that wound or that narrative. Because all the queens, I feel like the Queen of Cups does run the risk of playing like a supporting role. Many of you have supported other people and haven't gotten much back in return. So you've put a lot of your effort and energy into other people's success, but not your own. So that is shifting or changing. And I know it gets tossed around like that main character energy, but sometimes there is some gold wisdom in that, like not always playing the supporting character or the wallflower, the person behind the scenes. Many of you need to have something of your own, not only be a supportive character in somebody else's narrative. So what does this full creation look like? What does it look like? Ooh, 5 of Cups, grief. Feeling lost. Some of you will go through a grieving process. I'm getting some more of that breakdown energy because when you break down and break narratives and patterns and past programming, it will feel like you're lost, like you have. It's so important to detach, walk away, but not regret. Don't have regrets about where you felt disempowered in the past. Some of you are going to be processing that grief. And it is necessary. Sometimes we have to sit in the Five of Cups a little bit for a while, not forever, but you have to process your emotions at this time. There's a lot of water. There's a lot of emotion. Four of Cups, depression, rejection, a missed opportunity. So many of you are processing things that did not work out in the past. Some of you became attached and really struggled to walk away. So your creative goal at this point is rebuilding your ego and self-esteem, because what's interesting is ego gets a bad rap. Sometimes for the feminine, you're actually having to build the ego. The masculine has to break down some of those ego, because masculine energy in at least patriarchal systems already has that ego, that the entitlement to power and authority, where the feminine actually has to do just the opposite. You're having to actually rebuild the ego. And some of you, it comes after a real low point, like feeling like you lost something, feeling like nothing's ever worked out, even from when you were really young. You struggle with love connections, grief, loss, but you're going to be getting some breakthrough and clarity. It's like you have to go through this dark night of the soul energy somewhat, and it's difficult for you, but that there's creative power and gold beyond, underneath all of that. You're going to be finding your power again. This is interesting, because sometimes, we don't know what the cards are going to be. And as we lay them out, we realize sometimes the creative process is a grieving process, grieving the old self in order to become the new, because the Ace of Swords and Wheel and Fortune are all here, right? Good luck, a big turning point, a big shift in the way you think, in the way you show up in relationships. This is big work. This is deep work. It is creative work, because you're changing stories and narratives. And that's hard to do, right? Memories, shifting your perspective on a memory versus you're the victim, owning it and saying this happened to you, but it doesn't have to define you anymore. Especially situations where you felt very disempowered. That, yes, you grieve that loss of innocence, but then you start taking, responsibility for where you want your life to go. That's where you start getting your power back. Not wanting to be the victim anymore. You can go through being victimized without being the victim forever. And many of you are realizing that. You're releasing those things from your past that made you feel that way. You've shed all the tears that you can in that situation. I had a bunch. Let's just take them. They all flipped over. So, oh gosh, I had a lot of stuff flip over. We'll read some of this. So Aries, take the lead. Yeah, some of you are taking the lead. You're taking your power back. Don't wait for others to light the way. It's your time to step up and take the lead. Yeah, don't wait for somebody else to take the lead on something, especially if there's something you want to do in your life. Don't expect others to create that vision for you. You're going to have to create it for yourself. And it's a fiery beginning. You're on the brink of a real breakthrough. Follow your heart and live your passion. So many of you are going to have that breakthrough. Breakthrough is really big here. And Stag Spirit, you are meant for great things. Trust in all that you have to offer. You're meant to do bigger things. You're not meant to suffer or be at the mercy of other people, especially when it comes to entanglement. If you realize that you are in an entanglement, it may be time to move on. Don't stay stuck. Don't allow that person to have power over you. Take your power back. Exchanging gifts. There's a dance of give and take. What you give, you will get back. You need to be in more balanced and fair relationships, an equal exchange. You don't need to be in these dynamics where you're overly invested and then the other person isn't, and then you feel disempowered by that. You need that dance of give and take and fleeting flare path. Something in your life will be brief, not meant to stay in your life forever. Okay? And scarab spirit, what appears unusable may still have great value if you look deeper. So something was fleeting, it came and went, but something is usable. There was a lesson here. I mean, literally, the scarab represents death, rebirth. It's literally the living fertilizer, something growing out of it. So it may feel like something is a missed opportunity, but it's actually, even though that was brief, it led you to this, a big rebirth. It was an awakening and a blessed idea. Allow your ideas to come to fruition, and they bring many blessings. So yeah, there's some really exciting energy here. After you've grieved and processed all your emotions and missed opportunities, you're going to be getting your power back. That's lovely energy to see. And I'm going to get one more message here, and then we're going to wrap this up. For those of you resonating with this, I sure hope you like, share, and subscribe. And we'll leave this on one, get a little message here. Trust is a muscle. Allow yourself to let go and know that what is meant for you is coming. So you're going to have to flex that trust muscle. You're going to have to trust that you'll get through a negative situation or a feeling of being a victim in your own life or feeling disempowered. You're going to have to let go. You're going to have to be able to walk away. You're going to have to see that that door to that cage is open. This is an opening. So allow it to be removed. I know I will never miss what is meant for me. You're not going to miss what's meant for you. If it's meant to be in your life, you're not going to miss it. And if it's meant to leave your life, you're not going to miss it. You're moving forward. Everything's a cycle. So I will leave you there. Love you guys. Bye.